Hi everyone. Last year, I had the opportunity to speak with game developers at the MDev conference in Madison, Wisconsin. I also had a chance to try out some of their demo builds. And with MDev 2025 happening this week, I thought I would post the footage from last year. Enjoy.
So I'm working on Doggos In Dungeon, which is a cuter styled dungeon crawler with a lot of more movement than most dungeon crawlers have. There's the ability to dash and jump, and we're considering ideas like being able to, use a grappling hook to get long distances.
Okay. And now, do you have procedural level generation, or are you doing some manual curation of levels?
The level design is critical to our mission of making exploration as fun as possible. So no procedural generation in this space because we want to make the experience as tight as possible.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired you to make this?
So there's a couple of dungeon crawlers that I've played, but my favorite dungeon crawler is Demise Ascension. That's one of the dungeon crawlers that has the best exploration for me. And so I wanted to make a game that focused purely on exploration as its main asset, where combat facilitates exploration, movement, tactical positioning.
Mm-hmm. And this looks to be single player. Is that kind of the idea, or multiplayer at some point?
Yeah, so it's single player with a route leaderboard, where basically the players can compete to find the fastest way through a dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like kind of speedrun friendly, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how long might a run take, play session take?
Currently, this is about an hour and a half for your first playthrough. Once you understand some of the different routes and options that are available to you, it gets down to about 20 minutes.
Okay. And is there any kind of like meta game progression between runs?
No meta game progression. The player's knowledge is really what advances them.
Okay. And have you developed lore, like a backstory with this?
Yeah, so in this game, you are on a floating citadel, and there's another clan of doggos that wishes to mine the resources from this citadel, and it will cause the citadel to crash to the ground if they're allowed to do that. So you need to climb the floating city and regain your position as top doggo.
Nice. What's been the most challenging part of this game's development, and what's been the most enjoyable?
Level design is definitely the most complex aspect of this game. Trying to make every route viable, trying to make lots of interesting ways for the level to interact with the abilities. But that's also been the best part of it because it's very satisfying when those work together.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
Thank you very much.
This game is Dream Runner. It's a 2D adventure platformer. We wanted to create a platformer where you felt like your mechanics were like a set of tools in a toolbox. Mm-hmm. So the game fundamentally revolves around these 4 mechanics you have, which is a hover, like a Princess Peach hover, a slash, which you can use to sort of pogo stick your way around, similar to Shovel Knight, a dash, like bullet system, and a teleport phase through walls kind of scenario. And the whole vibe of the game is essentially like very smooth and satisfying flow state. Like you chain these moves together to get over very large gaps, and we really want to give players the satisfaction of doing something very hard in platforming, but that doesn't necessarily have one solution. Like precision platforming, oftentimes you want to land on one specific platform or hit a pixel really hard. Mm-hmm. You can sort of use these abilities in any sort of combination to solve a really challenging platforming problem.
Cool.
Here.
So what's your role specifically with this game?
So I am a co-developer and co-founder. My friend and I, who I've known for a long time, we've grown up together. We started to get into game dev as a bit of a hobby over COVID. We built a sandbox in Unity, we put a little wizard character in there, and we were like, how can we make this guy feel fun to play? Mm-hmm. And earlier this past year, about 9 months ago, we really were like, oh, this can be a game. it's not just a sandbox, it's not just a hobby. This can be something for real. So we quit our jobs in February of 2024 this year. Figured we could give ourselves a year of self-funding to see what could happen. And here we are. We got a demo in place, the Steam page up, and we're really excited.
Yeah. Have you gotten any feedback from other conferences or?
So we went to GDC last March, and it was actually the week after I quit my job. So we really didn't have much to show. We brought like a very thrown together demo on a Steam Deck just to pass around at happy hours and stuff. And it's really funny looking back at that now, considering the demo we brought here to MDev. But that was more so to build a network and get the feel of what it feels like to develop professionally the week after quitting. We didn't want to sit around at home and be able to feel like developers. We wanted to actually be there and get in the scene. So, But this is our second ever conference, and this is our first ever conference bringing a demo officially.
Yeah. So what are your next steps for the game? Are you going to incorporate some of the feedback you hear? Do you have a list of features you're planning, or?
The core features of the game are all planned out. We basically have the entire game blueprinted, outlined, and in some sort of alpha state right now. Right now, we're really curious at field feedback, when you hit a specific target or you chain a couple of moves together. How does that feel, and how can that be better? And we've gotten such amazing feedback from people here at MDev, both from people who are hardcore platformer players, they know what a good platformer should feel like, and also people who have almost never played a platformer before and are telling me how it feels and what could make it better for new players to the genre. So it's been really productive and really helpful.
Great. And do you have anything to add to that?
Same as him, we 50-50 split all of it. So art, design, code, all collaborative, which has been really an interesting process, being able to share every bit of it as we go. I think it would make it really interesting to go to a team where I'm not allowed to touch every single little part of the game. So yeah, it's been really good.
Does one of you specialize in animation over the other, or is that shared as well?
It's all split. I would say he is more the artistic mind if we were to separate it out.
Yeah.
He definitely has more of an artistic hand than I do, but when you look at the art assets, I can pinpoint which ones he did and which one I did, and it's a 50-50 split a lot of the time. So
okay. Now, what do you foresee as some of the elements of replayability in this, and what's going to make people want to come back for more?
Yeah. One huge thing that we really want about our game is we feel a lot of times games demand a lot of your time to get the full experience. What we really want is that this can be a game that you can get the full experience in a 6 to 10 hour playthrough. However, we're going to tack on kind of what we're calling an arcade mode at the end, where we give kind of those people who love a hard platforming challenge the ability to play through kind of us pushing these mechanics to their absolute limits in a flurry of just platforming levels.
Yeah.
So that's where kind of the replayability comes from.
Cool. What's been the most challenging part of this project, and then what's been the most enjoyable?
Most challenging, I think, is definitely been the process, meaning how do we do this? What's the correct way to do this? We were just discussing earlier, when we did this as a hobby back in 2020, the first thing we did was make all the art assets for the entire game. And then we have, as you can guess, since scrapped every single one of those art assets because we hadn't play tested anything. We were making art assets for game elements that we didn't even know we were going to use yet. So that has been the most challenging, is what is the right order and way to be doing this? And I think we found a good process now, but it took a long time to get there. But the enjoyment, I think, comes from the collaboration of two people who are equally invested in this. I love sitting down in a design session and saying, here are our core ideas. How are we going to turn this into a level that is fun and replayable and also fits the narrative and all that stuff? It's definitely that collaboration is the most enjoyable.
Great. So if people want to play it, is there a demo available, or?
We have wishlist on Steam. We have no demo on Steam yet, but we do have a Discord where we have our alpha build available, and anyone can join the Discord. So anyone who joins that Discord can play our alpha demo.
And on the Discord, we also put out weekly builds, just prototypes, and get feedback directly from people on the Discord. So there's lots to play if you do join the Discord outside of the alpha.
Well, thanks, guys, for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you so much.
Our inventive spin on the 3v3 hero shooter. I'm not a big gun person, so instead of guns, you're magical characters with different abilities. So in the demo that we have 2 of our game modes: Nomad's Relic, which is a spin on capture control, but the control point teleports across the map. Shadowed Legacy, which is your standard collect as many as you can before time runs out. Along with 8 playable characters, again 4 spells, offense, defense, and support. But the biggest thing that makes our game different is we have arena enchantments that are extra rules that get applied to like on top of the map. So we did like the quick math, and if our math was right, with the demo we have here, we have 216 different play combinations that players can kind of cycle through. And we're just really excited for people to get a chance to play it.
Cool. So is it couch, is it local multiplayer or online multiplayer?
So it is online multiplayer. We want to build out a local multiplayer to get that couch co-op feel, as well as a single player mode that kind of explores the backstory of the different characters and give you like the lore that's missing from the game right now. But currently in its current state, it is online multiplayer.
And what are you using for, I heard it was in Unity, what are you using for your multiplayer frameworks?
So we went with what I know best. So the multiplayer framework is in Pun 2. It's just, we wanted to get a prototype spun up very quickly, iterate very smoothly through it. In the future, we'll probably move to like maybe Future or Quantum, and we even move to a different framework. But for demo purposes and iteration speed, we went with Pun 2.
Okay. And have you looked at some of the other like Unity offerings like netcode for game objects? Or
Yeah, we have. I'm not familiar with it, so I was like, the time it would take to learn this and be able to make the game was just not extra lead time that I wanted to put on top of the prototype. I have friends that use netcode. It seems like a really stable thing. I learned multiplayer through Pun 2, so when I was like, I want to make a multiplayer game quickly, Pun 2 it was.
Yeah. Well, with multiplayer, limiting your risks is important.
Yeah.
So I did see that there might be some changes in the Unity 6 multiplayer. So
yes,
I'm planning to take a look at that,
very
see if that's
excited.
Interesting or not. Cool. And so then, are you planning for like Steam multiplayer support or putting it on another platform?
Yeah, so we're looking at Steam for sure. We also want to put it on consoles, so we made sure it has game controller compatibility. I would love to see it on like Xbox, PS5, and the style of the game. I'm a girl dad, so I wanted a game that I could play like with my daughter as well. I think my ultimate thing would be like if I could make it like Nintendo Switch compatible as well, then we could target that like more like kid-friendly, cozy game audience that doesn't typically go for like, hey, I'm going to play Xbox to play a very goofy, whimsical game. So we're doing a lot of work on the back end just to make sure it's as compatible across multiple platforms as it can be.
Okay. So what age range do you think could play it?
So right now we have 2 target demographics. We have like the 18 to 35. So a lot of the elements in the game are more of like the get good strategy. You find a class, you learn the spells, and you learn the strategy behind the spells. But also the age range of like that 10 to 14, where they're kind of like a little bit more twitchy gameplay, a little bit more like, I just want chaos, I just want to see everything. And so as you play the game, and as like we describe the games, it's like whimsical chaos. Like there are strategy elements, and you can definitely have a higher chance of winning if you know the strategy of the game. But, I was playing against my daughter, I was winning, and then 10 seconds in, she just cast every spell she had, and I died, and she ended up winning the match.
Yeah.
So it's a balance.
Yeah, my son is destined to beat me at every video game, and I've settled into that now.
Yep.
So, cool. Well, what's been the most enjoyable part of the dev process for you, and what's been the most challenging?
So the most challenging is easy. Multiplayer is hard, and especially when you're making multiplayer with like different abilities, and you have to think about like what needs to be sent over, what doesn't, and things like that. Like it gets hard. And I think multiplayer in any fashion is always hard. The most enjoyable is honestly like the first time I play tested with my daughter, and like since I'm making this game for kids her age, I wanted to see like if she liked it. We got to the end of the game, she lost, and she turned to me, she's like, can we play again? Can we play again?
Nice.
And then playtesting with like people in my age group, and like yesterday we were playtesting with somebody who figured out a class that is like one of the most difficult classes, and he was like, I like that class. Is there like an online thing where I can read about the spells to figure out how to balance it? And I was like, yes. Like it has both sides of that spectrum.
Cool. So what are your next steps with this game?
The next steps are really just feedback and iteration. So we've been working on it for about 4 months, so it's very early. So we're still very much in like we're building out a lot of key things, but I know for a multiplayer game like this to be successful, I need a community. So it's already live on itch. You can already play it. We have a Discord community going, and right now we're just ingesting as much feedback as we can and then getting that stable community of people who play the game. And then just pumping out characters. The good part about this is like we can add more enchantment cards, and it automatically adds randomness to the game.
Right.
So new characters, new cards, new maps, and then just making sure that it's the game feel that the players want.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you.
Well, this is Dino Might. This is a 2 to 4 player couch co-op party fighting style game. It's kind of what we settled on calling it. You basically jump on each other with your cute little dinos. You can customize them. We have power-ups, things like that. It's a simple game, but it's a fun game. And it's all movement based. Think of if you ever played the arcade game Joust.
Yeah.
It gets a similar feel to that. It's not 1-to-1, but once people hear that, they kind of like okay, and then they lock in and play. So
okay.
Yeah.
We had a competitive Joust player earlier come to us who said he used to play that competitively, and he was killing it instantly. And I was like, whoa, how do you know this so well? And he was like, yeah, I used to compete back in the day. And I was like, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any other questions.
So have you been working on it for a while? Or?
Yeah. We're well, actually, it's funny. It started as a game jam. I don't know if you know about the Global Game Jam, but
Sure.
we started as a project for that. It was a team of 5 at the time: 2 programmers, a designer, 2 artists. And yeah, we liked it. The people that we played with liked it, so we why don't we just finish it? We had a programmer leave, so right now it's just 4 of us: 2 artists, programmer, designer. Yeah, we're still on it, but we also go to school. Some of us have jobs. So currently, it's been kind of part-time basis, but we've been working on it for about 6 to 8 months of development. We've gotten a lot done in that time. On my end, the biggest thing has been, it was a game jam game, and now it needs to be an actual game.
Right.
So a lot of it is refactoring code and optimizing things to be where it needs to be, on top of adding new features. Yeah, and then but also on top of that, we're also a company, so a part of that is also working on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been building up our social media, and I also do the UI, UX, and level design. We haven't done the level design yet or remade any of that, but that's our next goal to do.
Okay. So your roles, what are your roles specifically?
Well, I am the ones and zero guy. I'm the programmer. But I guess we're all co-owners of the company that we started for this. Absolutely not games. Be like a good play on words. But yeah, so I mostly just do the programming, but I also do other basic more technically leaning design things. Working in engine, bringing in assets, animating things that get brought in by the animators. Anything you can really think of on the dev side of things.
I mean, being an indie studio is just wearing all the hats, so it's always a hard question to answer. But I do UI, UX design, level design, our social media, and some production when we need it.
Yeah, and then we have a character artist named Taylor. She's phenomenal, and we also have an environmental artist named Erin. She's also phenomenal. But yeah, right now we've got a lot of character art added. We need to switch over to environmental art. Life things happen, so that's our next goal.
But our artists are the backbone of our game, honestly.
That's true. Yeah, we had amazing art from the start, and now our goal has been how do we make a game that fits how amazing this art is.
Yeah, well, the characters are very engaging, I can tell right away.
Yeah.
So what's been the most challenging part of this process, and what's been the most enjoyable for you?
Just in terms of development?
Yeah.
The most challenging for me was, again, refactoring the physics. One of the things when our other programmer, who is no longer with us on the team, he said he's still very much alive. He's at Stout. When we made it in a game jam, he was like, I kind of want to make a custom physics engine in 2 days, and it's a game jam, so we're like, sure, no problem. And it was fine for the time, but then once we're like, hey, this has to be an actual game, kind of needed something more substantial than that, and we kind of toyed around with it a little bit, and then he unfortunately had to leave. So I was stuck having to refactor all that, so I had to rip out everything and refactor it for Unity physics, which is still a process I'm doing. I mean, it's all fixed. It's just value tweaks. I mean, there's certain bugs and glitches. I've mitigated. It's about, I say 5%. It's 5% jank, but that's been the most challenging thing for me. Yeah, I don't know if you have a challenging thing that you want
I
to.
think the most challenging part for our development team has just been trying to balance life and development, because now we're not in school anymore. You know, we all graduated, so this is the real deal. We don't get to walk away at the end of a semester. This is an ongoing project, and we're all business owners, so just figuring out how to prioritize and balancing those schedules.
Yeah, but
The easy part is the development, I feel like.
well, speak for yourself. try refactoring the physics.
As a project manager, that's my hardest part.
And I would say the easiest part, maybe we have the same answer, is this. My favorite part is this, because there's always that moment when like you make something and you get to see the what you did be received well. On an internal level, it's fun to play and do it, but it's but we've been staring at it for so long, and I know every developer feels that way. So when we get to things like this, and the day of, before we always do these things, it's like, is people going to receive it well? Are they going to like it? Are we just in our heads?
In the car,
yeah,
people
and
are
then
gonna like our game.
and then we get here, and then people receive it mostly well, and then it's like, okay, cool. I can relax. I can exhale. But that exhale is always the most rewarding part. I'm like, oh, they like it, they get it, and then we're like, oh, a lot of people like it, a lot of people get it. That's always fun.
Yeah.
So
I'd say that's my favorite part too. Just being a people person, a product person, and a UI UX person, like seeing people love it and how they engage in it is the best, most rewarding part.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
yeah, thank you so
much. I really appreciate it.
And again, Dino Might, please check us out on Switch, hopefully next year.
We have an Instagram and a Twitter. We can just be found at Absolutely Not Games.
Right? Sounds
All right,
good.
Thanks so much.
Lake Minnewaska is a first-person narrative-driven game. It's about a father fisherman wanting to reconnect with his daughter.
Okay. And how long have you been working on it?
So this project took about a year doing one school year. So from May of 2023 to May 2024.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What type of tools are you working with?
Yeah, so we're working with Unity, Wise, Maya, Procreate. Those were the main tools. And for task tracking, we use Notion.
Okay. And what's your team size?
Yes, my team size is around 33 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, yeah. So because I'm thankful enough to go through my capstone process, half of them were actually enrolled in the class and half of them were volunteers, but we made it work, so it was great.
Okay. And are you attending school similar to some other folks over here? Or?
Yeah, so actually I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah. This past May, and I submitted afterwards. I'm like, oh yeah. I mean, I have family out here in Minnesota and Madison. It's like, yeah, let me just submit it and see what happens. And now I'm here.
Yeah. Cool. So how long does like a play session take with this game?
It takes about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. If you want to speed run it, it's probably around 8 minutes.
Okay. And so what has been your role in this project?
Yeah, so for Lake Minnewaska, I was the creative director. So this is my idea. I pitched it. I greenlit it. I got greenlit, and I recruited people on my team, and I was the ultimate person making choices during our development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you looking to kind of get playtesting feedback here, and then what are your next steps after that?
Yeah, so currently right now, I'm just getting, a bit of feedback actually would be great. Right now there are no current plans for Lake Minnewaska. I just wanted to showcase it and see like how it relates to people, and see like if any future game projects that I create in the future, like okay, people do resonate with a game or a story like this. So I do want to see how that works for future creations.
Okay. And was there anything personally that that inspired you to make this game?
Yeah, so Lake Minnewaska is a real place in Glenwood, Minnesota, and that is where my parents live. And we've gone there fishing a few times. So just being around fishing, in the fishing community, and using it out, I realized, oh, people like outside in the real world, like they enjoy fishing, and like they enjoy like being vulnerable and being with family. So I'm like, okay, how can I get that experience, that emotion into a game? So that was really driven me into this game.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to
Of
talk
course.
with me.
No worries, Bjorn. No worries at all.
All right, so My Chandroid Sweetheart is a puzzle Metroidvania exploration style game, and in it you and your robot girlfriend go around the city and solve puzzles to restore power to the city.
Great.
And meanwhile, you're on your quest to find the thief who stole her memories. So it's part of like, she's like an android, and so her battery got stolen, and that contains the module for the battery contains all of her long-term storage, right? So that's kind of the premise in a nutshell.
So what are some of the mechanics of Metroidvanias that you've incorporated here?
Right. So you get to explore around. You encounter maybe a few dead ends, but then you go and you find different upgrades. So in this short demo, you get an upgrade that's called the Rewire module, which allows you to access different satellite dishes and hook them up. So like maybe there's like a pressure plate somewhere and it's got a satellite dish attached to it. You hook that up to a door and you can rewire them in real time. So that's one of the mechanics which will come about later on in the demo. And that will unlock more areas for you to explore into.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like you've got this mainly for PC then? Are any other platforms you're planning?
Yeah, it's on PC, and I've got an Android build, and I'm planning on having a Linux build, and potentially a Mac if I can get some people to play test it, just to make sure there's nothing wrong with it, but yeah.
Okay. Are you a solo dev, or do you have others you're collaborating with?
I am solo dev right now.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're doing all the programming, all of the art?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
And the music and design. Yeah.
What kind of tools are you using?
I'm using Unity as the engine, Blender for a lot of the 3D modeling, Paint.net for a lot of the texture work.
Sure.
What else? FL Studio for the music, and don't know if I missed out on anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I got started on FL Studio and then migrated to Propeller Head Reason. But so you're wearing a lot of hats. What has been the most enjoyable part of this development process, and what's been the most challenging?
Most enjoyable part is kind of just seeing the vision in my head start to come to life on the screen. So I'm making each aspect of this, so I kind of have this control over this that is, I don't know, just complete control, right? So that can be a blessing and a curse because, on one side it's like, okay, I get to make exactly what I want, but then on the other side is like, all right, I could get really OCD about this and just kind of stall my progress. So it's a balance between trying to make it exactly as I envision it and then just kind of reevaluating what it is that I'm trying to envision sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Great. And so what are your next steps after getting playtesting feedback and things like that?
Next steps are implementing different fixes and changes for conveyance. I'm noticing is a big issue with the game so far. Not enough information given to the player. See, so I wanted to err on the side of not holding the player's hand, but that's also giving me, at this point, reason to, implement some of those tutorials, like maybe dialogue, just hints here and there, right? Just to subtly guide the player. But then, sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but yeah, next steps is fix conveyance, fix some bugs if there are any, and then get a pipeline together for more character creation, because I believe that my game needs more characters in it at the moment. It's a little bit sparse, but yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing a lot of the narrative design too and writing. Is there dialogue in here, or?
There is, yes. And I'm doing all the writing for that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so this is Project Haven. So it's a crafting survival game set in kind of like a dystopian medieval setting. Think like Lord of the Rings after the apocalypse happens at the end of that story, or that storyline. Like if you just awoke one day and then you were like beyond that, like how you'd figure out like what took place beforehand, what caused the like apocalypse. And so yeah, it has a lot of the staple parts of crafting survival. Big part that we're trying to focus on is the idea of like the thing that wiped out humanity is still around, and how does the player engage with that or avoid it or try and utilize it to their advantage, because as it's a dynamic element that spreads throughout the world, and like animals can spread it if they come in contact with it. It'll slowly kill those animals, but also kill like vegetation and other things that it might come across. So you can get super powered by it if you go into it and risk it, but you might spread it in doing so. Or you can play in a way where you're more like nature oriented and trying to protect nature from the wither and just try and sustain it. So it's kind of like a duality between the two.
So is this contagion spreading in real time as players play?
Yeah. So it starts off in kind of like caved areas where it's sort of just like been hidden for a while. But as the player's playing, they'll see like a bear might pass through it and then start spreading it on its own. So it's like a new, like a lot of survival games have weather, and we do as well. But that's like another dynamic piece where it's like randomization that they might run into it at some point, and they have to figure out how to get rid of it or how to deal with it like in the local vicinity.
Okay. Are these randomly generated worlds, or do you have one kind of cohesive world map?
This one is a cohesive world map. Like the demo is linear, so it's always going to be relatively the same. The goal long term, as we've been working on this for about 5 or 6 months, the goal long term is to add multiplayer, and then also add a lot of procedural generated content. So whether it's like the landscapes or all the spawners that are inside the land, it really is going to depend on just like the engineering demand to be able to put all that together.
Okay. And how big is your team?
It's just 2 of us. So yeah, we have a couple people that are also helping with us, but primarily Monday, who's the other co-founder, along with myself, have put these together like over the past 5-6 months or so.
Okay. And what's been the most challenging part and most enjoyable part of this project?
Challenging, I think, is just like basically going through all the different parts of game dev with a very small team. And so I think that like running into really unexpected like issues, whether it's bugs or other problems where you have to backtrack quite a bit in order to resolve those things, whether it's in code or art, what have you. The other side of it is just like the ability to kind of create in a sandbox and just be able to have an idea and make it come to life in the game. And maybe it doesn't make any sense for the game world and we scrap it, but the ability to very quickly iterate, make changes, see what works and what doesn't. Yeah, it's really enjoyable because like we come from backgrounds that are in game dev, where it's a lot more stagnant. You kind of have to like follow the procedure that exists, and so for us to kind of just have like a free-form approach is good.
What's your background that's not game dev?
Yeah, so I both Monday and I worked at Bungie previously for a few years, and then before that I have a lot of like operations leadership background that's outside of games. He has a lot of process improvement background, and so we're trying to create our studio with the idea of like we want to run lean, we want to run operationally efficient, but we want to be able to create and enable creatives to make cool stuff. Okay.
So what are the next steps for this game? Where do you want to take it from here?
Yeah, for the game, it's kind of like 2 directions. We're trying to pursue funding right now. So if we get funding, it's going to shift into a process where we build out basically like over the next year, something we can put out there that generates a lot of wish lists, a lot of interest, something that's like really well polished. If we have to like pivot and we're like struggling to find like investors for the project and the studio, then I think we really try and look at like how do we continue to generate interest in the game and build something that's like engaging, especially in convention settings like this. And so we would be looking at like potentially like GDC and MDev of next year and building out like Haven and Coven to continue to be an exciting gameplay experience just for players. So it might not be hyper polished, but we want to make sure it's fun when people engage with it.
Okay. Well, in terms of the 2 titles of the games, they have similarities, so there's consistency there.
Yeah. They're both Coven. We might keep that name. I think Haven. There are some games out there that use either a very similar name or they have the name Haven in there. So Haven will probably see a name change at some point in the near future because it's kind of been like our internal process. We had like Project Haven, Project Coven. We were like just theorizing months ago on like one called Project Ashen. So it's like, yeah, similar similar concept. Different worlds though. It's not like a shared world or anything like that.
Right.
So yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
This is Ripple and Frawg and the Seasonal Song. It's sort of a couch co-op adventure puzzle style game featuring Ripple and Frawg, two characters. Ripple is a stoat and Frawg is, well, a frog. And their goal is to get Ripple home after a large storm washed him downstream and away from his family.
Okay. And what's your role on the team that's developing this?
So yeah, I am the art lead, so I oversaw all the art development on the game, and I also worked on both 2D and 3D assets for the game.
Okay. And where are you at in the development cycle?
So right now we're about 75% done, I think, with a 100% complete game. So right now our game has 4 levels. They're not, we only have the first 2 levels really polished and ready to ship right now. The other 2 are sort of nearing the end of their completion. But yeah, that's where we're at right now.
And are you targeting specific platforms first?
Yeah, so we have a demo on Steam right now. So we created a Steam page and as well as an itch.io page. We were also considering if we really wanted to get serious with it, switch development because of its sort of target demographic of like either, it's sort of a family game, so for all ages, which I know the Switch is also that sort of demographic. So yeah, that's where we're at.
So what's been one of the more challenging parts of this project and what's been the more enjoyable part?
Yeah, I think the most challenging part of it was working on a team of around 15 people. So it was a lot. Originally, this was a capstone game for the University of Wisconsin Stout, where most of our team graduated from. So working with that many people that all have their own ideas and they're all trying to get different things out of their final year and their final game they're creating. So trying to balance letting everybody have a voice, but also having one central cohesive game idea was definitely the most challenging part about this.
For sure.
But I think the most enjoyable part was seeing it all come together, hearing the voices of people who don't necessarily speak up as much, speak up and have really, really great ideas that none of us had even thought of before. And seeing how those affected the gameplay of the game and have it come together much more nicely than it would have otherwise.
Yeah, that's an interesting challenge to make sure everyone kind of gets their word in and has a stake in things. So what's some of the feedback you've heard as you've been testing the game?
Oh yeah, well, we've done a very, very long cycle of playtesting. We started playtesting, I think like last December-ish is when we started. So it's just been continuous user feedback and then improvements on the game. Most of our levels look completely different from when they did at the start. Because it's a puzzle or adventure style game, we need to make sure the game feels good to play through and that there are no areas where players just simply have no idea what to do and have seemingly tried everything, but they're not advancing. So there were a couple spots where we had to completely redesign parts of our levels because they just weren't working, or add visual effects where characters might be able to use their powers because they didn't know they were able to use their powers before. So, yeah.
Great. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.